Hey y'all,
What up, guys?
Blake and JT in the house.
This is 30 something. This is going to be a live podcast broadcast that we do. We're going to have some video as well. This is the first episode, so here we go. Yeah, we're going to be calling the show 30 something. We know there are some other things out there that are similar in title. That's okay. This is our show. We're down to collaborate with those guys or whatever they want to do, but this is going to be our show. It's the name we thought up for a while and came to the conclusion, man. We're going to do a show basically about our 30s, man.
Yeah. Just basically, wanting to talk about life, talk about stuff that we like, we enjoy, and then some of the hard stuff in between, man. It'll come up, but
Yeah, goods, bads, everything in between.
keeping it real,
And
keeping it real.
we're gonna, one thing we discussed was the show's about accountability and us, like, actually, if we get on here and say we're gonna do something, a week or a month later, it's in the process or
What's going on?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
check back in with us.
and like we've said, we don't care if it's got big and successful, that's great, but really it's more for us and our
Right.
own, like, venting and cutting our teeth on actually trying to create some content. So stick with us for the next decade as we talk shit.
Yeah,
We wanted to start off the show, this first one is kind of an introduction to who we are and what we do and what this show is going to be about, and like I said, we're calling it 30 something. It's a decade long broadcast about our 30s and every decision we're going to make.
two dudes about to turn 30, trying to break 30,000.
Trying to make 30K, we're going to shoot real with you. I don't know how it's people out there in America or the world or anybody that's hearing this, but here where we live, it's hard to break into that $30,000 or more pay grade. We don't live in New York City or somewhere else where, like, the money's different. This is like basically middle America on the East Coast. Is how I look at it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about love and success, and if you can have a family and success, and what is success, and the sacrifices you have to make in this life to have the things you want. So, one thing we discussed and kind of talked about last night, we were saying how, like, at age 30, there's a you really start to realize, or at least I am, and I can only speak for myself, I hope other people relate, but I've started to realize that there's a decision that I have to make,
No. Oh yeah.
It's like, am I going to be
Crossroads.
Yeah, it's really is crossroads, man.
As a young man, there's a lot of easy way outs in your mistakes, but as you get older, I feel like your feet are held a little more to the fire. I feel like your decisions have a much broader impact. Not only you, but your wife or your girlfriend or your job
or your family. As your parents get older and or your children get
older. And all
older.
those things are tied together. And that's kind of where we're coming from. Is we don't have it together. We're trying to figure it out, and this is the process. We want to be able to look back and say, yeah, we saw where we started, we saw where we struggled, but we saw where we overcame, and now look at where we are.
Right. Look back at year 6 and be like, man, we've really come a long way from year 1.
Exactly.
And that we're actually doing it right and have are starting to get our stuff together. I was saying last night, we're 30 and we are thinking that we know everything now, like you always do as a human, and we've been through these experiences, and we realize that if you're a 40-year-old and you're listening to this, you're probably looking at us saying, like, y'all don't know anything. But I was saying before, and I'll say again, the difference between me as a 30-year-old is and me as a 20-year-old is I can admit that.
Right.
I can admit I don't know everything. I can admit, like, you know what, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old, you're probably right.
There's a big difference in being able to admit and see the difference,
right,
versus just live your life. Oh, made a mistake, keep rolling. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope what thing that we'll start to continue to do as we get older is when we do realize that a mistake's been made, you learn how to fix it, move on, grow from it.
Solution.
Admit when you're wrong.
For sure, man. For sure. Yeah. I think that, with both of us coming up into a new chapter also in our lives, we've got a lot going on. We got a lot of stuff on the horizon, job-wise, relationship-wise, just everything, we're up and coming, we're trying to make it. And it's not one of those things where the plan is laid out. We've got to cut a path, you know what I mean? We've got to find our own way.
Right.
And that's essentially, I think, where maybe the viewers or the listeners could get something out of this, and if you do, man, awesome. But like we said, this is something for us to kind of look at ourselves and just see a mirror, see a reflection, and for us to be able to grow as well too.
Yeah, I mean, you really hit the nail on the head there, man. Like, this is something that maybe hopefully our children, our families one day can look back on. And it's not just like, let's go get a famous podcast started. We realize there's a flooded market. We realize, like,
Yeah.
That people will dedicate. They don't have so much time in the day, and they're going to dedicate the time that they have to listen to certain things. But really, this is more for us to kind of live vlog, document like what we're doing with our lives.
And get a little bit of the creative juices flowing. Because
Uh,
JT's
right.
got a lot of creativity, y'all. I mean, this guy's gifted, man. We're talking, this guy's got 30,000 views on a couple videos.
Yeah, but that's
But that's
nothing
nothing.
really,
I mean,
But it's a start. It shows that I can do something.
we're
Even
looking
if you
to
look
the
at this,
future
yeah.
and seeing big stuff on the horizon.
And you're also going to see if you continue to watch this, like every video won't be this way. We live about an hour and a half away from each other. We've been friends for a while now. I'd say, real good friends for about 3 or 4 years. Another mutual friend kind of brought us together.
We've known each other for a good bit longer, but man, life happens. Both had our little roundabouts, and then boop, there we are. It's like, hey,
you
trying
went
to do the same thing, different place.
You went to my bachelor party with me in Atlanta, and I'm sure we'll get to those stories one day, man.
Some good stories in there, y'all.
But we'll be shooting a lot on a Skype type interviews, but the quality will be good. You can see from here, like we take the quality seriously when we are together. The quality will be try to be like, semi-professional, amateur.
It'll only grow from here.
Right, exactly.
Just say that.
I mean, you can even just see, I'm sure from watching this, like it doesn't look that bad. Like we're going to take this really seriously. Even though it is just for us, that really to me makes me even more accountable for the quality of the content.
Absolutely.
Like, because I'm not trying to be famous, but I'm also trying to be professional.
Right.
And if it does do well, the only way it can is if it looks halfway decent.
Right.
Yeah, so a few things for the little intro episode I just wanted to touch on real quick, some things we were actually talking about last night. And that's what'll happen a lot of times. We'll hang out on either Skype or in person. We'll talk. We'll get a little inebriated in ways, but then when we come here it's always correct and proper and
right.
But that's where we kind of come up with a lot of our ideas and really just have really broad discussions about life. We become like scholars in a sense.
Oh yeah.
We one thing we were talking about was that life is an act. All of life is an act.
Got to keep it real, man. I mean, yeah, there's an old saying, you can fake it until you make it. And, I've heard that said by successful people and unsuccessful people. And when I heard it from the successful people...
They're still faking it, the unsuccessful.
You know what I'm saying? You got to hear what people are really saying in those situations. And it's not saying, hey, sell your soul and be a fraud. They're saying, hey, look, if you got to do this, that, and the other... to get to this, that, and the other, then so be it.
Right.
That's the process of life.
Well, even what you're seeing here, life is an act. This is an act. Like I went and put this shirt on before the show. That's why it looks so dope. You know what I mean? Like life is all an act.
We don't wear sunglasses inside.
I don't wear sunglasses all day long. I really only about wear them when I'm doing this. I have like 60 sunglasses that are all for shows.
All for shows.
But that life is an act. But not just an act. Life is not just an act just because it is an act. And
no.
You have to make sure, especially if you're going to broadcast yourself like this, or just when you're out in the world talking with people, life is an act, but not just an act. Your actions have to back the act, and that's the thing. You're going to have to live the gimmick. Like if you're in wrestling terms, like if your gimmick is who you are as a character,
right?
And you have to live that gimmick, know, and I feel like that's where, you decide your ego and this mask you wear, you have to decide what that is, but then you have to dedicate to it, and you have to become that thing that you visualize yourself as when you look at yourself in the mirror.
I think you're hitting on some big stuff right there, brother. That's big, man. I mean, there's no doubt. I feel like when you establish who you are and you carry that flag, or through your work or your relationships every day, you're proclaiming something whether you realize it or not, and that can become burdensome if you're not careful about who you want to become.
Exactly.
If you're not careful about who you're allowing yourself to become, because there's all kinds of impacts on you as a person by the people you're around, by the things that you choose to watch or read or whatever. This world is full of opinions and ideas, and for you to become an individual, that's hard. It's harder than just to go with the flow. And so I think that's another thing we're trying to do here is we're trying to be individuals. We're trying to stay true to ourselves, but we're also trying to appeal to the audience in some ways, and that's where we're going with the act, is saying, hey, look, we're not trying to be fake. We're not going to make up some stuff that we think y'all would want to hear. We're going to say what we truly feel, And if that might offend you, hey, but that's our opinion. We're entitled to that, and you're like entitled to your opinion as well.
Exactly, and hopefully we can actually create a dialogue and
An ongoing
where people
conversation.
want to talk back with us and not be a bully on either side, or where we can actually discuss and be intelligent people. Because I see us as intelligent people. I'm very open to ideas that are not my own.
Yeah.
That's how I've become the man I am.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everything I believe now, I did not always believe at one time, and some things I believe now I will not believe 5 years from now. You know, and I'm very aware of that. Like, knowledge and opinion is very fluid, like all things. You know, like you have to allow that to be able to change.
Yeah.
Touch back on, like you're saying, your surroundings and who you hang out with and what you take in, as in media or content or anything. Like, reality,
huge, man. It's huge.
Reality is only your ego's perception of what reality is, because reality is truly just this matter flying through space on a ball flipping around the sun. You know, like really the reality, and is that even reality? You know, what is reality truly? And I don't want to go too deep into that, but what I'm saying is that my perception of reality and even your perception of reality, sitting right here with you, are different.
Different.
Everyone in this, our ladies are in the other room watching TV right now. Their perception of reality, different.
Different.
Your perception of reality is different than mine.
It's different.
So realize that what you take in every day alters your perception of reality.
It definitely does, y'all. And I mean, it gets kind of one of them principles that I feel like you reap what you sow. You know, what goes in comes out. It's just that same principle applied to the human nature. You know what I mean? Like, if you sit there and you watch garbage, you're going to start to produce garbage.
You're going to reciprocate garbage back into the culture of your life. Exactly. Because what you take in is what you put out. You know, it's just like what you eat, you shit.
So we're trying to put out something that's a little bit positive, that's a little bit, maybe controversial, not too much, but we're trying to just, like I said, keep it real, man.
Yeah, keep it real. Well, when you keep it real, and I told you this last night, I said, this is going to be our show. Say what you want to say. Don't be within reason.
We're not telling you who to vote for. We're not going.
We're not going to go into that crap.
Yeah, that's beyond where we're.
You've heard enough of that stuff. You hear that stuff every day.
Those conversations just seem to really just go in circles.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to do that. We're trying to actually move this forward.
But when we do say something that may make you go, ooh, whoa, I didn't know they were like that. Or, say something. Let us know how you feel and explain to us. Say we say something that offends. Let us know why it offends.
Because I'm open to new concepts and ideas. That there's no, closed-in mentality. I feel like, and both of us, I feel like, actually, we are open to new ideas and concepts. So if you have something to say to us, man, please, by all means, let us know. We will sit there, chew, digest, whatever, but carry on the conversation. And like I said, I feel like that really is what this generation needs more than anything, is just to not sit there and pick and choose about, hey, look, this is the direction I was told to go. This is the direction this is the direction we're all moving forward.
Right.
And it needs to be positive, because we're in this together, and there is no me, there's no I. This is we now. I mean, we've all got our own issues, and this whole world, like you said, man, keeps on spinning. We're out here, just trying to make it. And at the end of the day, we've got to be happy with who we are, with our relationships, and with the people around us, family, friends, all that stuff. So, digression, sorry.
Man, you got deep there, though.
Yeah.
It's true, though, man. If you can allow yourself to be happy and and it's not just allowing yourself, but build towards that and really feel successful and be trying to live the right life for you. If everyone tried to really live the right life for themselves, it would be a lot better life for everyone, because everyone would be trying to live the right life. And I think you would see that life would mesh a lot better. It's a lot of it. It's not even that, well, the way they live, I don't agree with. Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't agree with the way you're living.
Right. Yeah.
And you're projecting that onto someone else, to whatever you don't like, whoever you don't like, and that's not just
insecurities.
Insecurities.
All
Exactly.
That stuff, man, comes into play for sure.
People won't even sit down and talk with each other anymore.
Yeah.
And that comes from all sides of every front, and that's why I don't really want to get super political or anything like that on the show, because I just feel like, even though it is a very political time, and I feel like it's
it's charged.
It's charged.
Yeah.
It's charged. There's too much
realize that too. Electricity flowing through that.
There's a lot of motive. Realize that, and the things you're gonna hear and learn in this world, especially in this American controlled culture of media is king, media is God. Realize that everything is spun, everything is controlled, everything has motive, everything is propaganda. Everything is propaganda. This is propaganda. Understand that, because we have an agenda as well. Positivity towards ourselves and each other, and growing a positive life for the next 10 years.
Right.
But that is still an agenda. Understand that. Understand that coming in fully understanding, and you will respect whatever you're taking in a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely, man.
Cool.
I think that's a good foundation right there.
Two other quick little topics we're going to jump on real quick. We were saying one thing in our little talk last night that I really liked. It was, about in this life at this age of 30, like we're like kind of we're both at least, and I feel like a lot of people should be in a very like strong work mode. I mean, bro, you know me, you know that there's weeks I'm working 60 hours a week, and I'm not like patting myself on the back, but I mean that's just the reality
Keeping it
of
real.
where I'm
Yeah,
at, and
yeah.
like, and I'm telling y'all, it's a lot of work. It's either like 5 days, 3 of them are doubles, or it's 6 days, or it's like not a lot of time with my wife.
That's a lot of hours, man.
I work a lot, man.
It's a
You
lot.
know, and I know you do too. You work hard. And I just say that to lay down a little groundwork of what I'm about to say. So you're gonna have people in life that's like, well, smell the roses, smell the roses, and we were saying last night,
Not against it.
not against it.
And if you can,
and at 50, I'll
hey,
smell the roses.
right.
But at 30, I'm
planting
planting
the
the
roses.
roses.
That's what I'm saying. That's
You
what
know?
I'm saying. There's got to be a time when you get down, you get dirty on your knees, man. Just breaking a sweat out there, like, and it takes that to receive that later on.
Right.
The fruit is in the
Again,
work.
reaping what you sow. I mean, it
And-
truly is, man.
Boom.
You know.
I mean, dude, these things. It's almost like
Well,
we
they're in-
overcomplicate the simple things in life.
They're in those old books for a reason, because like you take the old religious scriptures or the old books, old knowledge of whatever kind. It is still relevant today because it is basic truths. You know what I mean? Whether you take the religious aspect out of it and only the morality, only the lesson. You reap what you sow. You reap poisonous fruit, you will grow poisonous fruit.
Right.
If you reap, if you sow, I guess, if you sow bad seeds, you reap bad fruit, and it's the same. And that is just a true rule to life.
Exactly.
On any principle of any like upbringing or mentality,
Financial.
or anything. So
Absolutely.
like, it always comes back to that, and it's like, we were saying last night, while you're smelling the roses, I got there that morning, planted the roses, and I'm already at the next job site. You know, because right now it's money making season.
Right.
We will get to the smelling
there
later.
comes a time, and we've both got our own stories, our history, whatever. We've been through the gauntlet, man. We've had experiences through different jobs and stuff, and we've worked hard to get where we are right now. And that's not a boast on us, like JT said, but that is something that I feel like by 30, that ought to be in the very forefront of your life. If you're not married, if you don't have kids, or even if you are married and you do have kids, there's a big relationship with happiness and work. And I feel like at the end of the day, man, when you lay your head down, if you cannot check off, I worked hard today, I was a good husband today, I was a father today, those things, man, your happiness is gonna, it's like a subtle, you'll slowly maybe start to fall off the horse, and you won't realize it until it's too late.
You're right. Till the horse left you in the desert.
And at that point, dude, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, wish you had your horse.
And I'm not saying, trying to get into any of those details of where we came from, but there is a time and a place to talk about that stuff, because we've all had our fair share of experiences, you know what I mean? And there's metaphors that we can all throw out there. The onion metaphor, as you get down closer to the core of something, man, it's sensitive, it's hard to talk about those things. But there's a time and a place, and sometimes...
And you got to get through those first layers first,
Right.
And like you say, you'll cry because it's an onion. You get
It's
it,
an onion,
it makes
man,
you cry.
dude. It makes you tear-eyed,
It makes you get emotional,
There's stuff...
But again, but to be serious for a moment, like it's true. I mean, even like as silly as it is, you go and you think about the Shrek movies, and he talks about that a lot in the Shrek movies. He's like, you're like an onion, you're layered.
Yeah.
You peel back the layers. And I think we will.
It takes other people as well to do that.
Exactly.
You can't do it by yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I love there's a metaphor I heard once, man. It's like a single wind chime hanging all alone. What good is that? Because you're not clanging up against other people.
Right.
And it's only at that point where you have the music.
The music.
And that is really what I feel like most of the interactions in life are, but we miss it. We're so looking down on our phones, man, or we got our earphones in, or, we're just consuming so much, and we don't pay attention to the environment around us or the people, and I feel like we're missing a lot of opportunities sometimes.
I know it's funny because we sit there and say like, well, smell the roses, I'm planting the roses, but what you described right there is basically like, to me, is smelling the roses. Smelling the roses isn't like, because smelling the roses is such like almost like a lazy-ish type of like metaphor. It means to stand there and smell roses for a little bit. What I think smell like that metaphor really means sometimes is actually working and actually having experiences and dealing with people and meeting people and doing what we're doing right now. You know what I mean? This is smelling the roses.
Right,
man,
and those roses that people are smelling, it took multiple people's effort to get those roses to that point. And that's another thing that most people don't think about is the process. And that's something that we kind of want to show y'all a little bit of how this process takes place for us coming to you guys. But it's not perfect. We're gonna digress. We're gonna go off on topic, but we're we're gonna hold each other accountable, and we're gonna try our hardest.
Yeah, we're students of the game, not
Students of the game,
but
that's a
still
good word
learning.
for it.
And,
That's a
and
good
you'll
word for it.
you'll see that the content that will continue to grow. For one, the stories that he's kind of touching lightly on, and you know how life is. Everybody's got stories. We will get into those, but as the audience grows and as we continue to become more comfortable doing this and stuff, you're also going to see. Like he said, how we do this, like what equipment we use, what we're cutting our teeth with, because you might be someone that's interested in trying to do this yourself. And I know a lot of podcasters that I listen to, they say like the number one question I get all the time is how do I start a podcast, or how do I start a thing, or what equipment do I use, or what like technology am I using on the computer, And I
Right.
think we're gonna show that stuff. You know what I mean? Not all the time, but a little bit.
Yeah,
You know?
because we're not trying to. There's no secret formula. I mean, and we're not trying to even say that we know anything. But we're just trying to do us, and we know that, man. If we didn't have other people who showed us the way through YouTube and through doing this stuff, man, we wouldn't have any platform to be able to do this through. So all that knowledge that has been passed on to us, man, we're just trying to spread it around a little bit, and we might do a couple reviews or a couple, maybe small giveaways or just little things here and there, just to kind of break the monotony of, just having conversations. But I do like talking to you, man.
Oh, I like talking to you too, man. I'm glad you're actually in town. They came to town to go.
Yeah,
on
it
a
doesn't
little,
happen every day that we're up here.
Yeah,
So.
him and his girl came to town while my parents were also in town, and we got to go do some fun stuff. And it was a good day. I'm glad we got to sit down and do this, man.
Yeah, man, it's been fun.
We're actually gonna shoot a second episode while I have you here, so you'll be seeing two episodes kind of
In the
like
same
this,
format.
right? And then you're gonna, like I said, see stuff on Skype and stuff, man. So let's we're going to go ahead and get on to that next episode, I reckon, guys. Thanks for tuning in and listening to this one. This is episode 1. We'll call it something like Smelling the Roses or
There you
something
go.
like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So until next time, guys, this is JT.
This is Blake, y'all. Have a good one.
Take care.